What if I told you that the government knows something about food security that they're not sharing with you? In today's chaotic world, where grocery prices are soaring and supply chains are crumbling, knowing exactly what to stockpile could make all the difference. I've spent months researching what FEMA and other government agencies quietly keep in their emergency stockpiles. And let me tell you, the truth is pretty shocking. The items I found, many of them, are sitting right now on Walmart shelves, often hidden in plain sight, just waiting for you to discover them. These 10 survival foods could last for years, even decades, and they might just be the key to feeding your family during a crisis or facing the devastating alternative of going hungry. The crazy part? Most people completely overlook these products every single shopping trip. But before I reveal what these critical foods are, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly finding new survival tips that the mainstream media is ignoring, and you won't want to miss them. Now, let's dive into these 10 survival foods that Walmart might be hiding from you. Foods that the government is quietly stockpiling as we speak. First up, powdered milk. I know, it might sound a bit basic, but trust me, there's more to this than meets the eye. If you walk past powdered milk in Walmart, you're likely going to miss it. Don't look in the regular dairy section. It's usually tucked away in aisle 7 near the baking supplies, or sometimes even hiding in the coffee and tea section. Here's the thing, most people don't realize its true value in an emergency. I didn't even know this until a prepper friend pointed it out during a shopping trip last summer. What most don't realize is that a single container of powdered milk can provide essential nutrition for months, sometimes even years, if stored properly. Research from the Journal of Food Science shows that powdered milk retains up to 80% of its vitamin D and calcium content even after 5 years on the shelf. That's vital nutrition when fresh milk isn't an option. Think about it. Milk is something we all take for granted, especially when we can't get it anymore. During the pandemic, I saw people panic when the dairy sections were empty, while my family just reconstituted powdered milk. I spoke with a former FEMA contractor recently who confirmed something fascinating. Government emergency response centers keep massive stockpiles of powdered milk because it's a complete protein source that both children and the elderly can easily digest during a crisis. They know something that most shoppers don't. In fact, during the 2023 hurricane season, FEMA distributed over 50,000 pounds of powdered milk to areas affected by the disaster, just to get through until supply chains were restored. This item is considered so essential that it's one of the first supplies to be deployed in a disaster scenario. And here's the kicker. While regular milk spoils in just a few days, vacuum-sealed powdered milk can last up to 25 years if stored in a cool, dry place. I keep mine in airtight containers with oxygen absorbers in the basement. The key is keeping it dry. Moisture is the enemy of all powdered foods. Trust me, I learned this the hard way when I opened a container that had been stored poorly and it had turned yellow and smelled awful. That's a mistake you don't want to make. My neighbor Mark used to think I was crazy for stockpiling powdered milk until last winter, when his kids were desperate for cereal during a 3-day power outage. Most people don't realize that powdered milk comes in different varieties, too. Walmart carries whole milk powder, not just the non-fat version we're all familiar with. The whole milk version has more calories and fat, which is exactly what you need when survival is on the line. And for anyone worried about lactose intolerance, there's even a lactose-free version, though you may need to ask a store associate to point you in the right direction. My sister-in-law, who has lactose issues, was amazed when I showed her these options. Here's a pro tip. Powdered milk isn't just for drinking. You can use it in all kinds of recipes when fresh ingredients aren't available. Add it to homemade bread for an extra protein boost, mix it with water to make sauces, or use it in emergency pancakes or biscuits. The versatility of powdered milk is one of the main reasons government agencies stockpile it by the ton. In fact, I've even used it to make emergency yogurt by adding the right bacteria and keeping it at the right temperature. The possibilities are endless. Knowing how to store food for the long term is a skill worth mastering, especially when fresh dairy isn't an option. For under $20, you can buy literal years' worth of calcium, protein, and vitamins that your family might need during an emergency. Compare that to all the money we often waste on things that won't matter when a crisis hits. Next time you're at Walmart, grab a few containers of powdered milk. And if you really want to get ahead, look for the Austin on Farms brand. It comes in much larger containers than the regular boxes and offers a much better value. Your future self will thank you when grocery store shelves are empty and everyone else is scrambling for the basics. I'll never forget the look on my brother's face when he called me, desperate for milk during a massive winter storm. All I did was pull out my stash of powdered milk and show him how to mix it up. Problem solved. Now, let's talk about another critical survival food, canned meat. When it comes to stocking up on protein, canned tuna is usually the first thing that comes to mind. It's lean, shelf-stable, and familiar. But here's the thing. If you're preparing for long-term disruptions or building a serious survival pantry, you need variety. No one wants to eat tuna every day for 2 months, right? That's where canned meat options come in, and some of them are quietly disappearing off Walmart shelves faster than you'd expect. Let's start with canned chicken. It's a bit of a sleeper hit. It's versatile, mild in flavor, and works in everything from quick soups to rice dishes. Keystone and Great Value both offer solid options, often packed in water with minimal additives. Plus, in an emergency where cooking fuel is limited, canned chicken is already fully cooked. You can heat it up, or if you're really in a bind, you can eat it straight from the can. Then there's canned beef, a seriously underrated survival food. We're not talking about beef stew. We mean pure chunks of beef packed in broth or natural juices. Brands like Keystone and Lehman's are favorites among preppers because they provide real calories and a much-needed fat boost when you're low on energy. Walmart currently sells a 28-ounce can of all-natural ground beef from Lehman's, which is a rare find if you've ever tried searching for shelf-stable protein with that much volume and clean ingredients. Don't sleep on canned pork either. It tends to be cheaper than beef and is packed with flavor. It's hearty, rich, and perfect for stews, beans, or even just heating with instant rice. Like beef, many canned pork options are fully cooked and ready to eat, which makes them ideal for blackout situations. Lehman's offers a pork variety that's shelf-stable for years and contains no artificial preservatives, exactly what you want in your long-term food reserve. Here's where it gets interesting. These canned meats aren't just popular with preppers. They're rumored to be favorites of government emergency stockpiles. Why? Because they check all the boxes: protein-rich, calorie-dense, long-lasting, and don't require refrigeration. FEMA, military contractors, and state-level disaster response teams have all relied on these products in the past. In fact, some of the supply disruptions we've seen over the past year have led to quiet speculation that bulk government purchasing could be at play. And then there's the price point. As of this week, Walmart's selling canned chicken for around $3 to $4 per 12.5-ounce can, depending on the brand. Canned beef and pork are a bit more expensive, around $6 to $9 a can, but you're getting a massive shelf life and multiple servings. For serious preppers, buying in bulk, like a 12-can case, could still be cost-effective when compared to freeze-dried options. So here's the takeaway. If you're only stocking tuna, you're missing out. These other canned meat varieties can add flavor, nutrition, and flexibility to your emergency meals, but supplies may not last forever. Between rising prices, production limits, and potential behind-the-scenes government stockpiling, the best time to stock up might be before the next headline breaks. Now, let's talk about freeze-dried fruits, another hidden gem. You've probably walked past these dozens of times without noticing. Freeze-dried fruits at Walmart aren't usually front and center. They're tucked away in obscure aisles or end caps, sometimes grouped with other snack foods. Freeze-dried fruits are a hidden treasure in Walmart, often tucked away in the snack aisle, or even in that weird, under-the-radar, trending now section, also known as Department 82. It's no coincidence that these snacks are placed where no one talks about them. They're not your typical grab-and-go snacks. They're actually nutrient-packed, shelf-stable survival tools. And the truth is, someone might not want you to buy them in bulk. What makes freeze-dried fruits so valuable isn't just their taste, it's the science behind them. Unlike dehydrated fruits, which lose a lot of their nutritional value through heat processing, freeze-dried fruits retain up to 97% of their original nutrients. That means the vitamin C, fiber, and antioxidants, the very things your body craves during a crisis, stay intact. They're lightweight, easy to pack, and take up barely any space. This is why they become a go-to not just for backpackers and busy moms, but also for serious preppers and even government stockpilers. Now, let's talk about shelf life. If stored properly, freeze-dried fruits can last anywhere from 10 to 25 years. That's much longer than most canned goods. We're talking 2 decades of nutrition that won't spoil, mold, or degrade. No refrigeration needed, no waste. Just peel open the pouch when you need it. Whether it's a blackout, an economic shutdown, or any kind of disruption, you've got an instant vitamin boost at your fingertips. Here's where it gets even more interesting. These products aren't just popular with everyday preppers. Agencies like FEMA and other emergency management programs have long relied on freeze-dried fruits as part of their long-term food stockpiles. They understand that in a crisis, people need more than just calories. They need nutrients, they need stability, and freeze-dried fruit delivers on both. So if you notice your local Walmart running low on these, or if they're strangely hard to find, it's not just in your head. There's a growing demand for them, driven by both government bulk purchases and the increasing number of people waking up to the reality of fragile supply chains. This shelf-stable superfood is disappearing faster than many realize. Next time you're at Walmart, don't skip over the snack aisle. Look up high, check the weird mid-aisle bins, and grab a few pouches of freeze-dried fruit. While everyone else is fighting over toilet paper, you'll be sitting on a gold mine of nutrition, ready for whatever comes next. Now, let's talk about bulk grains, another survival staple that FEMA stocks by the literal ton. But here's the catch. They're not just hoarding rice and wheat. According to a recent supply chain report, government facilities also maintain massive reserves of alternative grains like quinoa, amaranth, and millet. Why? Because these super grains pack more nutrition per ounce than traditional grains. After the 2023 climate assessment, FEMA expanded its grain diversity due to concerns about crop failures that could affect single grain types. At Walmart, these survival gold mines aren't where you'd expect. Skip the regular rice aisle and head to the international food section, where you can find 5-pound bags of quinoa at nearly half the price of specialty stores. Or check the organic section for amaranth. It's often tucked behind the more common options. This is an insider tip from my prepper friend who used to work at a government storage facility. Store these grains in food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers, not in their original packaging. According to his experience, properly stored alternative grains can last 15 to 20 years, much longer than the typical 5 years for regular grains. That's 2 decades of survival food sitting on Walmart shelves that most shoppers completely ignore. The best part? A $50 investment in bulk grains can secure enough calories to feed a person for 2 months. That's serious peace of mind for pennies per meal. Let's move on to nature's liquid gold, honey. Did you know archaeologists found 30,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still perfectly edible? That's right, honey literally never spoils if stored properly. This is why FEMA and military strategic food reserves always include honey. Its indefinite shelf life makes it invaluable during extended emergencies. In fact, according to a 2023 report from the Strategic National Stockpile Program, honey is classified as a Tier 1 essential caloric resource. It provides instant energy when you need it most. But honey isn't just a food, it's also medicine in a jar. Recent research from the University of Mississippi found that raw honey contains over 200 bioactive compounds that can fight infection. That's crucial when medical help might be unavailable. Honey can treat wounds, soothe coughs, and even help with digestive issues during stressful situations. So next time you're at Walmart, don't just grab any jar of honey. Look for the raw, unprocessed kind. It's the kind of emergency tool you'll be thankful for when the world turns upside down. When it comes to honey, don't just grab any bear-shaped bottle. Look for raw, unfiltered options like Great Value's raw and unfiltered honey. These are often tucked away on the bottom shelves, but they offer the best value. A 32-ounce container costs around $12, giving you the most bang for your buck. And here's a pro tip. Check the baking aisle too, not just the breakfast section, as Walmart sometimes stocks different honey varieties there. Remember, store honey in a cool, dark place. Honestly, this stuff would probably survive a nuclear winter. One jar could sweeten your life during the most difficult emergencies. Let's move on to something that might not look exciting, but is an absolute lifesaver in an emergency. Dried beans and legumes. You know those bags sitting quietly in Walmart's grocery section that most people walk right past? Those humble beans pack a serious survival punch. Here's a secret the government doesn't advertise. FEMA and military supply centers stockpile thousands of pounds of beans because they're essentially protein gold. A single cup of cooked beans provides about 15 grams of protein, which is comparable to expensive meat, but at a fraction of the cost. According to research from the University of Michigan, properly stored beans can maintain up to 80% of their nutritional value for up to 30 years. Yes, you heard that right. 30 years. The government knows this, which is why they store them in sealed mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. So, which beans should you grab? Pinto beans, black beans, and lentils are nutritional powerhouses with the longest shelf life. These are usually found tucked away on the bottom shelves of the international food section, not where most people look. I was there last week and found 5-pound bags of pinto beans for under $7. That's about 50 servings of protein-rich food. Some Walmarts even carry 20-pound bags in their bulk section, which most shoppers never visit. My tip is to grab a variety: some lentils, which cook quickly without soaking, and some beans for longer-term storage. Split them into mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, just like the government does, and you've got emergency protein that outlasts nearly everything in your pantry. Now, let's talk about canned vegetables. While many shoppers instinctively gravitate toward fresh vegetables, there's a strong case for certain canned options that are often overlooked but invaluable for long-term preparedness. While canned corn and green beans are pantry staples, consider adding canned pumpkin, beets, and artichokes to your stockpile. These selections not only diversify your meals, but also offer unique health benefits. Canned pumpkin is rich in vitamin A and fiber, which supports vision and digestive health. Beets are packed with nitrates, which can enhance blood flow, and artichokes are full of antioxidants. Many people mistakenly think that canned vegetables are less nutritious than their fresh counterparts, but that's not the case. Studies show that the canning process actually preserves many essential nutrients effectively. In fact, canned vegetables often have comparable or even higher vitamin content than fresh produce because they're canned immediately after harvest, locking in nutrients that might degrade over time in fresh produce. Governments around the world recognize the importance of canned goods in emergency preparedness. The U.S. Strategic National Stockpile, for instance, maintains reserves of essential items to ensure food security during crises. This highlights the reliability and shelf stability of canned vegetables, making them a smart choice for individual stockpiling. From a financial perspective, canned vegetables also offer a favorable nutrient-to-cost ratio. They provide similar nutritional benefits to fresh produce, but at a lower price point. This affordability, combined with their long shelf life, makes canned vegetables an economical and wise choice for building a comprehensive and budget-friendly emergency food reserve. Incorporating a variety of canned vegetables into your emergency food supply is a strategic and health-conscious decision. By looking beyond the usual choices and understanding the nutritional and economic advantages these vegetables offer, you can ensure a diverse, nutrient-rich, and cost-effective food supply that will support you through any unforeseen circumstances. Now, let's move on to something that might surprise you. Peanut butter. Yes, peanut butter. But not just as a comfort food, it's actually a survival powerhouse hiding in plain sight. A single tablespoon of peanut butter packs about 100 calories and 4 grams of protein. That's incredible density in a food that requires no cooking and has an impressively long shelf life. This is exactly why FEMA includes peanut butter in their emergency food supply guidelines. The government doesn't randomly choose these items. They've extensively tested which foods provide the most value during a crisis. I spoke with an ex-military survival expert last month who confirmed that during his time managing emergency rations, peanut butter was considered liquid gold because of its calorie-to-weight ratio and morale-boosting properties. He shared a fascinating story from Hurricane Katrina relief efforts. Peanut butter was one of the most requested items once the immediate emergency passed. People weren't just hungry, they wanted something familiar that would give them energy fast. Not all peanut butter is created equal, though. For survival situations, skip the natural varieties with oil separation, since they can go rancid faster. What you want are the regular commercial brands with stabilizers. While these might not be the healthiest for daily use, the stabilizers extend their shelf life to 2 to 3 years unopened. In fact, when stored in a cool, dark place, commercial peanut butter can sometimes last even longer than its best buy date suggests. Here's an insider tip. Walmart's Great Value Creamy Peanut Butter is currently priced at just $2.24 for a 16-ounce jar, making it one of the cheapest survival calories you can buy. I often find them stocked on the bottom shelves where people don't look as much. When you break down the numbers, you're getting about 2,800 calories per jar, almost a day and a half worth of survival calories for under $3. Nothing else in the store offers that kind of caloric value. Don't forget to check Walmart's bulk options too. I recently scored an 8-pack case that works out even cheaper per jar. I've stored them in my cool basement pantry, where they'll stay good for years. I even rotated through some during a 3-day power outage last winter. Let me tell you, spreading peanut butter on crackers made a world of difference for my kids' morale. One more thing people don't realize. Peanut butter isn't just food. It can also be used as an emergency fire starter because of its oil content. Just smear some on a piece of cardboard, and you've got a slow-burning fuel source that can help get a stubborn fire going. These kinds of dual-purpose items are priceless when you're in a crisis. Trust me, when the chips are down, having a few jars of this protein-packed, calorie-dense food that requires zero preparation could be a game changer for your family. Next, let's talk about iodized salt. Most people overlook salt when prepping, but here's something fascinating. The government considers iodized salt so essential that they've been stockpiling it since the Cold War. Why? Because this simple 98-cent container of salt isn't just for flavor. It's critical for survival. After the major disaster in Japan in 2011, researchers found that people without iodine developed serious thyroid problems within just weeks. Your body can't produce iodine on its own, but you absolutely need it to function. In fact, the CDC reports that iodine deficiency is the most preventable cause of intellectual disabilities worldwide. It's a great idea to grab vitamins with a longer shelf life from the pharmacy section. The next time you're at Walmart, be sure to check for the Equate Complete multivitamins, usually tucked away on the bottom shelf. They're a steal at around $8 for a 200-count bottle, providing great value compared to the name brand vitamins right above them. The nutritional profile is nearly identical, with the same vitamins and minerals at half the price. FEMA stockpiles similar generic multivitamins because they provide the most nutrition for the lowest cost. To ensure your vitamins stay effective for as long as possible, keep them in their original container in a cool, dry place, away from light. They can last for at least 2 to 3 years past their expiration date when stored properly. A pro tip? Throw in a food-grade silica packet to absorb any moisture, and you're all set. I personally store mine in an old ammunition box in my basement, and let me tell you, it's the perfect storage solution. Here's something that truly shocked me during my research. The CDC conducted a study after Hurricane Katrina and found that nearly 40% of survivors developed some form of nutritional deficiency within just 3 weeks of the disaster. They were getting enough calories, but not the right nutrients, and this was in America. What's even crazier is that the military has been ahead of this game for decades. I spoke with a former military logistics officer who told me that they include multivitamins in every long-term ration package. He said, "We learned the hard way in previous conflicts that soldiers can have full stomachs but still become combat ineffective due to vitamin deficiencies." I even tested this myself during a 2-week power outage last winter. I was living off my stockpile, and by day 10, I started feeling foggy and tired despite eating enough calories. Once I started taking my multivitamins, my energy returned within 3 days. It's a simple yet crucial thing to have in your emergency supplies, one that could make a huge difference when you're relying on your reserves. In short, stock up on multivitamins. They're a small investment with a big payoff. They'll keep you healthy, energized, and better equipped to handle any crisis, whether it's a power outage or something more serious. With this extra boost, you'll be more prepared for anything life throws your way. Here's a quick recap of those 10 survival foods that Walmart keeps on its shelves and that government agencies are quietly stockpiling. Powdered milk, those overlooked canned meats, freeze-dried fruits, bulk grains, natural honey, dried beans, strategic canned vegetables, calorie-dense peanut butter, multi-purpose iodized salt, and essential multivitamins. But here's the kicker. It's not just about having these items. It's about how you combine and store them. The perfect starter kit for long-term survival? Get yourself 3 5-gallon food-grade buckets with Gamma Seal lids. In the first, combine your grains and beans with oxygen absorbers. In the second, store your canned goods and honey. Use the third bucket for everything else, especially your multivitamins in their original containers, along with those silica packets I mentioned. Look, I'm not saying disaster is coming tomorrow, but I am saying that those who prepare today won't be standing in FEMA lines tomorrow. The government is preparing, shouldn't you be too? If this information helped you out, smash that like button so more people can find this video. Drop a comment below telling me which of these foods you already have in your stockpile. And if you want more survival tips that the mainstream isn't talking about, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I'm dropping new videos every Tuesday and Friday with info that could literally save your life. Remember, in a world of uncertainty, preparedness isn't paranoia, it's peace of mind.